So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Virtually Marine Mammals. Our fourth session that we have in our series is the Marine Litter Project. So here at the Foundation, you've heard about not just doing science for science sake, but actually getting our research out into the community with the main aim of being able to protect and conserve our amazing marine mammals. So it's one of our missions to be the leading Australian marine mammal conservation organisation. And today we're going to be hearing about one of our main topics, which is raising awareness and providing these really great action initiatives for the community to really make that difference. So today we're going to be introducing Matt, who is our Education and Outreach Coordinator, and he's going to be talking about one of our flagship programs tackling litter in our marine environment, and it's the Marine Litter Project. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Matt. Come on, and we can start the Marine Litter Project, our Virtually Marine Mammal Session 4. We just got to find Matt. There he is. So welcome, Matt. You can kick it off.
Awesome. Thanks, Kate. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming in and joining in on our fourth session of the Virtually Marine Mammals presentation series. Thank you to everyone who's come out today, but also everyone who participated in the event over the last 2 weeks. It's been absolutely fantastic being able to share our research and education initiatives with all of you across a new platform for us, and it's been absolutely fantastic. So as Kate mentioned, I'm here today to discuss our flagship outreach program, the Marine Litter Project. So litter and marine debris is an identified threat to marine environments. At the Marine Mammal Foundation, we spend thousands of hours out on the water conducting our research or out in communities all across the state through our education and outreach programs. When we're out at community events, such as festivals, for example, we often see avoidable waste being produced, but also littered as well, such as single-use food packaging or drink packaging, to even things like balloons being released into the air. And so the unfortunate thing is that while we're out on the water undertaking our research, we often encounter litter and marine debris in the water when we're with the animals. And we do spend quite a lot of time collecting litter from the environment, from the water, as you can see in the images at the bottom of the screen there. You can see some very unhappy researchers collecting this litter from the water. And so while a small amount of litter does originate in marine environments, the majority of litter originates on land. So this means that the litter that we're collecting when we're out on survey comes from our communities. And these communities may be communities that are close to coastal environments, but it can also be communities that are a long distance away from marine environments. So we understand that litter is an issue, but why is it an issue? So through our community and education programs, we've recognised that there's a disconnect between our actions and litter and the effect that this has on marine environments. And so we recognise that this disconnect comes from a number of different factors, or there's a number of reasons as to why people are a bit disconnected from local environments. And this may be from geographic distance of these communities to marine environments, but it also may be from a lack of understanding or education as to how local litter can be dispersed and then impact environments that are a little bit further afield. We also discovered that there's a bit of a lack of a connection and appreciation of both local environments, but also local marine environments, and that whole of ecosystem connection between different communities and different areas and different regions. And so if you don't know about something, if you don't know about an issue, how can you then care about it? We also understand that the issue of litter is quite a large and complex issue. And personal attitudes might also impact our behaviour and response to litter in the environment. And so attitudes such as out of sight, out of mind can foster these negative attitudes to environmental stewardship, but also cognitive dissonance towards our own individual responsibility and impact on local environments. And there's also an attitude of I'm just one person. The issue of litter is so big. What can I do about it? There's nothing I can do, which is the result of the scale and complexity of the litter issue. And so the problem is so massive, a lot of people can feel overwhelmed due to all the negativity surrounding the impact of litter. They just sort of throw their hands up in the air and submit to the fact that they feel like they can't do anything about it. So these are all the reasons that we've identified as being a cause of the litter issue. However, we at the Marine Mammal Foundation and as a research organisation feel like we're uniquely positioned to address all of these factors and really make a positive difference towards the litter issue. And it's also important to understand, why do we use plastic? Why is plastic so prevalent in the environment and in our daily lives? So plastic is so finely integrated into our lives. It's in our pockets, in our phones, TVs and computers. We're all using plastic equipment to run this session and view this session today. Things like pens and stationery. We wear plastic, glasses on our faces, or the nylon that our clothes are made out of is plastic. We even brush our teeth with it. But even when we go shopping and buy our food, it's often wrapped in plastic unnecessarily. So plastic is very much integrated into our lives. But it kind of feels like we've gone over the top with it. It's gone a little bit too far. All this unnecessary plastic and plastic use. And we know that plastic can also impact environments locally, but also all over the world. And I'm sure you've seen headlines such as these on the screen here about marine animals being impacted by plastic through entanglement or ingestion. Small animals, but even the big behemoths of the sea, such as the sperm whales, falling victim to the impact of plastic and marine debris. It happens all over the world, but also happens right here in our own backyards, just like us here in Melbourne. So as I mentioned, the issue of litter can be incredibly negative and overwhelming. And this can be due to a lot of the information that's out there, a lot of the statistics and information that gets thrown around. For example, it's estimated that between 8 and 12 million tonnes of plastic enters the world's oceans annually. 8 to 12 million tonnes is a huge number. It's unfathomable. It's like saying a bajillion gazillion. It's a number that's so big you can't even imagine it. But this is the current understanding of the estimate of plastic that's entering our oceans. And of this, it's estimated that 845,000 tonnes of cigarette butts end up in marine environments. Those tiny little orange things. End up in our marine environments. And imagine how many cigarette butts you would need to create 845,000 tonnes. Again, it's just massive and unfathomable. And it's also estimated that 88% of the world's oceans are polluted with plastic. So almost the entire oceans have some form of plastic impact or plastic pollution in them. And so this information, these statistics are, incredibly huge and overwhelming. But there's also a lot of misconceptions and misleading information that's also out there about the litter issue. And many of these misconceptions sort of come through social media or other platforms. I'm sure you've all heard about the statistic that by 2050 there'll be more litter in the ocean than fish. But we've looked into this statement and haven't actually been able to find an original source or an original study that's the basis of that statement. So there's a lot of information out there that may be true, but there's also a lot of information out there that may be a little bit exaggerated or unfounded. And so through our programs, as a research organisation, we do really aim to bring awareness of the issue with correct scientific information. But we also aim to frame the litter issue in more of a positive light. Rather than bombarding people with negativity, we want to make the issue relatable and easy to understand and demonstrate the effectiveness of simple and tangible solutions to bring positive outcomes to the issue. So this is where the Marine Litter Project comes in. So the Marine Litter Project is the Marine Mammal Foundation's flagship litter awareness program, and it's a holistic, engaging and interactive program which is designed to inspire appreciation of our local marine environments through our marine mammals, but also just how special our marine environments are. We also aim to foster a connection to our local environments through our marine mammals, but also through our local litter. And we also then aim to empower positive action to take action and reduce the litter threat. And so through this, we aim to create an aligned and collaborative community-wide rethink attitude towards plastic. And so we believe that education is key to making a difference. Rather than just a quick band-aid fix, we believe that education is vital in developing a greater understanding and passion to make a difference. As I said before, you can't care about something if you don't know that it exists. And so the Marine Litter Project is also region specific. So we run our Bin Not Bay program for the Port Phillip Bay region and Port Phillip Bay region communities. We have the Litter Free Lakes program for our Gippsland Lakes region communities. And then we also have Bin Not Beach for our wider coastal communities. And this allows us to bring relevant local knowledge and education to those local communities where we're delivering the programs. And delivering this information to the people who care about that area the most, being the local community. And so, as mentioned, through our program, firstly, we aim to inspire appreciation of our local environments, but also the local marine environments that we have here in Victoria. You know, we're incredibly lucky with the diversity of environments that we have here in the southeast, and having these amazing ecosystems available to us directly from our own in our own backyard, at our own back doors. And whether it be, going out and utilizing these environments for recreation, above and below the water, or relaxing, or just enjoying the scenery, we're so lucky to have the opportunity to experience such a diverse environment right here where we live. And we also aim to inspire this appreciation of our local environments through our amazing marine mammals. So at MMF, we're in a position where we can share our unique knowledge and insights about the animals who call our watery backyards home. From our Burranan dolphins jumping out of the water, leaping, showing off, to common dolphins zipping around, to even the seasonal whale visitors that come into our Victorian waters, to people not even realising that we have whales here in Victoria, or even the super cute fur seals. We have such an incredible diversity of marine mammals living right here where we live. And to really inspire that appreciation, we also demonstrate that you don't have to travel far to see these animals. These marine mammals live where we live. Our homes are their homes. Hopefully some of you recognise the buildings in the background being the skyline of the city of Melbourne. So we don't have to travel to these exotic places to see these amazing animals. We can go to the beach, our local beach, and see dolphins and seals and whales and orcas and a whole range of different amazing marine animals. So by creating this appreciation, it also allows us to help build a connection to these environments. By demonstrating how special it is where we live, it also helps to make these animals relevant and create that personal connection to them. And once you have that connection, you're then able to have a bit of a passion and care for them. And so once we've been able to build an appreciation of these environments and these animals, we then aim to strengthen that connection to them and really build that connection to place, that connection to where we live. And we do this through a number of ways. So firstly, we allow our participants, or provide the opportunity for our participants, to get to know our individual dolphins. As Dr. Kate and the researchers discussed last week, we use dolphin fin identification, so using the individual nicks and notches of the dolphins, which you can see there on the screen, to identify our individuals. And while this is a powerful and effective research tool, it also allows us to gain a fantastic understanding of who our individual dolphins actually are. And we spend so much time with these guys, we get to know their own personal life stories. And so we allow participants to get to know dolphins like Jimmy, who Kate introduced on Tuesday last week, and her calf Finn, and their special story. We also have Modi, So Modi is the dolphin at the back of this image, and she has her lady lump, which you can see just in front of her dorsal fin. And so Modi is one of our Gippsland Lakes females, and she's the only dolphin that we know that has this unique deformity on her back. And because of this unique characteristic, Modi is quite easily sighted, and she's sighted quite often by the local community, and they know Modi really well in the Gippsland Lakes. And like Modi, as well as the markings on the dorsal fin, we can also identify dolphins by other physical characteristics. So this is Tiger. Tiger is identifiable by the fetal folds, which you can see running along the flank of her body, those white stripes. And Tiger is a calf, or Tiger was born in 2014, and we've been following her life journey through her adolescence into adulthood. And as she grows, we're hoping to see her with a calf of her own in the next few years. And this is Nemo. So Nemo is one of our transient male dolphins from Gippsland. And Nemo visits the Gippsland Lakes during the winter months with his buddies Bruce, Marlin, and Noel. And Nemo is called Nemo due to his pectoral fin. So in this image here, you can see as Nemo leaps out of the water, his pectoral fin is a little bit smaller than what a dolphin's pectoral fin normally looks like. And if you look closer, you can see a black circular scar around that fin. Now, we've shown this photo to a shark biologist here in Victoria, and he's told us that circular scarring matches the bite mark of a great white shark. And so just like his more famous movie counterpart, Nemo the dolphin has his own special fin, which he got from a shark encounter. But Nemo is one of the poster boys for our transient male dolphins who do visit the Gippsland Lakes through the winter months. Obviously, by the look of him, he's nice and big and fat and strong, and having only one pec fin doesn't seem to be causing him too much trouble. But by studying Nemo and knowing who he is, it allows us to learn a lot about the behaviour of these transient males that are visiting the system. We also have Lucky. So Lucky is one of our matriarchal females here in Port Phillip Bay, and Lucky is identified by this vertical scarring on the side of her body. And so these scarrings aren't natural formations. Those are scars from an injury which Lucky sustained through a boat strike. So that vertical scarring and patterning is characteristic of a propeller strike. And so Lucky is called Lucky because usually when dolphins and boats come together, the dolphins usually, unfortunately, aren't very lucky. But she was injured through that boat strike, but she's been able to recover. And as I said, she's one of our matriarchal females here in Port Phillip Bay. And so we get to know our dolphins really well, but it's not just our dolphins that we know either. We get to know all of the animals that we work with, including our super cute fur seals. And this is Snaggletooth, one of our Australian fur seals here in Port Phillip Bay. And obviously called Snaggletooth because of the tooth that's sticking out of his mouth. But again, we can identify our individual animals and know who they are, but also learn their stories and really build that connection between our communities to the animals that live in their own backyards. And again, while the connection to the animals is fantastic, there may be people who don't live or frequent marine environments very often. And so another way that we connect people to marine environments is through the catchment or watershed for a particular marine environment. So marine environments are more than just the sandy beaches or where the waves crash. They extend out much, much further than that. And so on the screen here, you can see the catchments from Port Phillip Bay on the left and the East Gippsland catchment on the right-hand side of the screen. And so catchments and watersheds can impact marine environments from thousands of kilometres away. And for example, the Port Phillip catchment is over 9,000 square kilometres large. So areas such as the Yarra Ranges, which may be as far away from a typical marine environment as you may get, does still impact what happens in Port Phillip Bay and then the wider marine and coastal environments of Victoria. And so upstream areas can have really huge impacts on those downstream areas. So for example, when it rains or is windy, the litter that you see in the street or down at the shops, or the litter that you see at school, which may be geographically distant from those marine environments, can be dispersed through that rain or by that wind and be deposited into rivers or creeks or streams. And then, that plastic bag or that chip packet that you've seen on the ground can end up in our marine environments, harming the animals that live there, like Lucky or Nemo or Snaggletooth. And so I'm sure you've seen images like this in real life, litter of refuse in the streets or in waterways or down at a local park. There's plastic in the trees that's been blown there. But as I mentioned at the start, while the litter in the street is often a common sight, we at the Marine Mammal Foundation do see the downstream impacts of this litter through our research and where it all ends up. And through this, we know that our litter is directly impacting our animals and causing them severe harm. So examples of this, on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see Dr. Kate alongside a deceased dolphin. And here Kate is undertaking an necropsy to discover what the cause of death of this animal is. And what she discovered, which you can see in the images on the middle of the screen, that this dolphin had unfortunately ingested 2 large plastic bags. And these plastic bags impacted the dolphin's stomach, and it became quite ill. And unfortunately, the plastic bags were the cause of death for this dolphin. And so the plastic bag that you might see floating around in the street is the reason this dolphin has unfortunately died. The image on the right, you can see a dolphin calf that has plastic entanglement. It's got a box strapping or box tape around it. And this incident was from Florida in the United States. And you can see that this calf had the box strapping wrapped around you. You see how tight it is from the scarring on its body in the right-hand side picture. But fortunately, this dolphin was able to be caught up with and that plastic removed, and she was able to swim away freely. And one of our volunteers actually worked for the organisation who responded to this entanglement. And this little dolphin has the nickname of Parcel because when they found her, she was wrapped up in all this plastic like a parcel. But what this demonstrates is that the litter issue isn't just a local problem. The litter that's in our streets, where it starts as a local issue, can become a real global problem impacting animals all over the world. And as I mentioned before, it's not just our dolphins that are being impacted. We know that the litter is impacting all of our marine animals, including the seals, which you can see here. So seals with fishing line entanglements or netting necklaces, which are sightings which we see, unfortunately, far too often. And again, it's not just the large animals, it's not just the marine mammals, it's all animals in the marine environment, including these seabirds, such as suffering entanglements, but also plastic ingestion as well. So this litter threat is real, and it's causing significant harm to our marine environments. And while these images are quite confronting, we don't want to shy away from demonstrating the direct impact that litter has. We believe it does help to foster that connection between our local environments and our litter behaviour and the impact that it has, both positively and negatively. But also, as I mentioned at the start, the issue of litter can be very negative and overwhelming. So despite all this, we do like to aim to provide positive outcomes for participants and communities. So demonstrating the impact of this issue creates a way that people can care about it and then want to take action. So the positive to this, though, is that we know that litter is an issue and we know that we are the cause of this issue, then that means that we can also be the solution. And so through the Marine Litter Project, we aim to empower participants to take action. And this action can be done individually through really simple and effective and tangible solutions, whether it be from depositing waste correctly, or even just making really simple consumer choice and committing to use reusable products rather than single-use plastic products. And these decisions and this behaviour has a huge positive impact on our environments. And so as our lives are sort of reliant on plastic, it can be incredibly difficult and overwhelming to break that habit and break away from plastic use. And we often have conversations with people at community events who do try to go plastic free and just find it so difficult because there's plastic everywhere. And so our simple message is, rather than trying to go 100% plastic free, start small, start from the beginning, and pick an action that's really simple to achieve. Something like not using plastic bags, and make this behavior and this action part of your daily life. And then once you've been able to master that small action, you can then move on to another one and include that, such as not using single-use coffee cups and committing to use a reusable mug. And so by starting with these small steps, it allows you to be successful, but also demonstrates the positive impact that you can have. And taking it step by step can have really great long-term behavioural positive impacts. And so this fosters that rethink mentality, where people are becoming more conscious of their own individual actions. And while those are all simple steps that we can take individually, collectively we can all make a difference as well. So collectively we can make individual changes, but then we can also work together towards a common goal. And so there are so many amazing community groups doing so many positive things out in our environment to reduce the litter threat. Organisations like Beach Patrol and Love Our Streets that are providing the opportunity for individual community members to get involved and have that hands-on action. And there's also a really positive growing cultural trend towards sustainability. So there are so many options to participate in your own local communities, in local community events for litter reduction and sustainable living. But there's also campaigns both locally and globally, all working towards a common goal. There's not going to be one organisation that has the answer to every problem. However, by working together and collaborating and moving towards a common goal and using each other's strengths, it will allow us to achieve more and really make that positive change. And as part of this, the Marine Mammal Foundation is also excited to extend our program as an AusMap collaborator. And so AusMap is a fantastic national citizen science program which aims to develop a scientific understanding of microplastic hotspots all around the country. And this fantastic innovative program provides the opportunity for community groups and members to undertake rigorous scientific sampling and follow a standardized methodology in collecting that data. And one of the barriers that we often come across in developing an understanding of litter loads is the varied litter collection methods used by different organisations all around the world. However, AusMap aims to eliminate this issue through standardising that methodology to ensure the sampling and data collection is the same across the board. And this is really important as it empowers community groups to undertake this rigorous scientific method, but it also allows for a true scientific understanding of litter loads as well. And so my fellow outreach officer, Amber, is also trained as an AusMap facilitator, and the Marine Mammal Foundation is an AusMap collaborator. However, I believe Michelle from AusMap is currently in the session today, and so I'm sure she wouldn't mind answering any questions that you might have about AusMap following the session as well. And so these really simple actions have a really positive difference, and we know that these simple actions work. And simple actions such as doing a beach cleanup when you walk in with the dog along the beach, for example, and it is really great in removing that direct litter from the environment. However, stopping litter at the source is an even more effective way to prevent the impact of litter on our marine environments. In a study undertaken as part of the Marine Litter Project, funded by Sustainability Victoria, we provided lifesaving clubs with a portable beach bin, which they were able to utilise on their own local beaches while they were out on patrol. And through this study, we actually found that when visible and accessible waste facilities are available, people are almost twice as likely to dispose of their litter correctly. So these really simple choices and really simple opportunities do make a really, really big difference. And so we've had so many fantastic groups and organisations participate in our Marine Litter Project. participants include schools, so running our marine litter project across in classrooms and across the whole school communities, but also in collaboration with community groups and also corporate groups and corporate volunteering, getting involved and making a difference as well. And so through the Marine Litter Project, we're able to provide participants with an interactive education presentation, but also provide that hands-on action opportunity through a litter cleanup and a litter audit activity. And so the program has been incredibly successful to date. We've had really great collaborative partnerships throughout the life of the program. We've been working with Lifesaving Victoria for quite a while now, since the 2015-16 season, and delivering our Marine Litter Project as part of their Nippers education program. And we've been able to directly engage over 4,500 nippers, but also club officials and families at these events. And through this, we've also been able to extend the program out into running our Marine Litter Project with Scouts Victoria groups as well over the last few years. And through this, we've also been able to engage over 600 Scouts across the state of all ages, from 5-year-olds all the way up through to adults. But as well, following that collaborative approach, the litter data that we're collecting is also being contributed to the National Marine Debris Database through Tangaroa Blue. And so taking our information and sharing it with a wider collaborative organisation as well. And the response from the program has been so fantastic and so positive. We received so much great feedback. So through the program, I've been lucky enough to deliver programs repeatedly at the same school or community group across several years. And I'm often told by organisers or parents or teachers how much they loved the program last time and how excited they were to participate in it again. Stories like how the kids or school kids won't stop talking about Nemo or Lucky and what they can do to become involved. But also really great feedback from parents. Saying they can't go to the shop and buy a coffee in a single-use takeaway coffee cup because their child who participated in the program won't let them use single-use plastics because they want to look after the dolphins. Or parents saying that they can't get their children to clean their own room, but they'll spend an hour collecting rubbish from the beach so that they can take care of the dolphins and the seals. And so hearing this feedback is so incredibly rewarding and positive, but it also really demonstrates that the program reach is much greater than those directly involved in the activity, that it extends out and has that community-wide benefit as well. And so finally, to finish off with, I'd also just like to provide a little bit of information about what to do in case you do come across a marine mammal with an entanglement here in Victoria. We're often asked, what the process is. How can you report an entanglement or a stranding? As many people may be unsure of the process or who to contact. And so, responding to an entanglement is a collaborative approach or a collaborative effort between a number of different agencies, including the Department of Environment, Parks Victoria, Zoos Victoria Marine Response Unit, Melbourne Museum, and of course us at the Marine Mammal Foundation. And so if you do come across an entanglement, the first port of call is the department, as they're the Department of Land, Water and Planning, as they're the managing authority. And on screen is the whale and dolphin hotline for which to call and contact them when reporting a sighting. However, Zoos Victoria also have the Marine Response Unit, who are able to respond to the management of these issues. They have the facilities to directly assess the animal, but also undertake the rehabilitation of an animal if required as well through the zoo's facilities. But following the report, the situation will be assessed, and the collaboration between these agencies will ensure that animal is able to be responded to effectively, and we can solve that issue as quickly as possible. And as I said, this is the information for those of us here in Victoria. Anyone further afield would be recommended to check with your local agencies and find out the correct information about how to respond in your own location. And so that brings us to the end of our session this afternoon. Thank you all so much for coming out. It's been an absolute pleasure sharing our marine litter projects with you all, but also sharing all of our information throughout our Virtually Marine Mammal presentation series. I know on our behalf it's been absolutely fantastic being able to bring these sessions to all of you, and having the response of everyone participating in the sessions has been absolutely amazing and overwhelming, which is great. So thank you all very much for coming out, and I'll pass it back over to Dr. Kate.
Hi, yeah, that was great. Thanks, Matt, for that. Such an informative talk, and really having those simple action initiatives for such an overwhelming problem, and having that positive impact with the ability to make a really big difference with what we're trying to achieve. So again, just a few web pages there. You can go onto our directmarinemammal.org.au. And find out more information about our all of our programs, from our research programs to our education programs, and our outreach conservation initiatives. You can adopt your very own Boronan or seal. There's a bunch of different ways that you can get involved. And I'd also like to once again thank our supporters and our collaborators and our funding bodies. Without this amazing support, we can't get out there on the water and do what we do, but we also can't get into the community to be able to talk to people about our amazing environment and the ways that we can help. So that does bring us to the end of our Virtually Marine Mammals session. Our 4 sessions there. I hope you've really enjoyed that. As with the other sessions, we will be staying online afterwards for a Q&A. So again, thank you for joining us at Virtually Marine Mammals.